I think we would like to start out at the top before we get into our discussion. Is we have a special performance video share of you guys live with Wayne Shorter, as I understand it, from Jazz à Vienne in France. So without further ado, we'd like to share that video right now. So hang tight.
Wayne.
Wow. Wow.
Oh,
Wayne
know.
Shorter. Gosh, dang it.
What, do you know when when was that particular engagement around approximately? Do you know?
Well, we've been going for 20 years, but that's 10
I
years
didn't.
old, right? At least.
I didn't notice the details of the year on the banner. Behind. I kind of missed that, but
No
Seth,
big deal, but
it's actually been 2 decades.
Yeah.
yeah, 2 decades.
I said over a
Since-
decade. Yeah,
Yeah.
20. Yeah, that's right. 2000. Yeah,
It's
20 years. This 20th anniversary.
Yes.
Actually, that's what I should have said. I knew it was from 2000, and my math. I didn't go from 2 to 20.
No,
From
no,
2000
believe me.
from 0 to 20.
Anything
That was a little bit much.
If
for
we could
me.
roll
Sorry.
back the time, then great.
Yeah.
Like all the more.
Oh
so.
man, but it's timeless. The bottom line is that is timeless. That is just unbelievable, and that's why. I mean, this is such a special. That's evidence for everybody out there watching. A good way to start. That why this is such a special group and one of the greatest ever in the history of the music. The special telepathy you guys have to get and how you communicate on the bandstand with Wayne and they're just everyone's so supportive of each other and it's just unbelievable. I mean that's the music at the highest level, and it's just exciting to even see even see in that way it comes through. Like only being there is a whole other thing, which as well, of course, but man, this is but amazing that we have that now. So let's jump right in to throughout, and share if you each would, and if John, you want to jump in first here as to how you first came to meet Wayne and end up performing with this group, and then follow that up with Brian and Danilo.
I guess I met him in '86 and through Chick Corea, and we got to know each other a little bit. I recorded on Phantom Navigator in '87, and then was still with Chick for years, and then I left in around '95 to do my own stuff, and then started playing with Wayne in the late '90s, and played with a lot of different people with him, and Terry Lynn Carrington was playing drums, and then through the course of there was quite a few number of years that went into making of Allegria, the record Allegria, which is a beautiful record. And I believe that's when these gentlemen showed up and changed everything. I mean, Wayne all of a sudden brought out cases of music that I never saw before when these guys got in the band. So maybe they can speak to that.
Yeah. Brian, how did you get involved? How did you get the call? How did you meet? I mean, you may have obviously probably met Wayne prior to that because you've been touring and working with so many people.
No, I'd only in hindsight, I can see that there was this sort of ordering of steps. For me personally, I know God was at work in my life, guiding me. I didn't have to ask certain questions when I was younger. Where I was going to go, who I was going to meet, was this love? I met those people, and I was given that gift. And three of the first recordings I bought, one was Juju, the other was Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Ugetsu, and the third was Miles Davis Live at the Plug Nickel. So obviously I knew Wayne's record, Juju, but then I realized when I got those other records home, this saxophonist, Wayne Shorter, is on this one, and he's on this, and he wrote these songs. And so anyway, fast forwarding from being 17, to being, what was it? 30, I picked the phone and he's like, "Hey, you're in Los Angeles. You want to come over and play some music?" And how he had heard of me, I don't know. I was out there playing, as you mentioned, my dear friend Joshua Redmond, and Christian McBride. We were playing Catalina's Bar and Grill when it was on Cahuenga. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I went over, Jim Beard at the time and David Gilmour. And I believe Christian and we drove over and went to play some songs with Wayne, so his music, and he was just, as I heard him on those records, to be in the presence of someone you felt you owed such a debt to all of a sudden, and to be able to thank him, but then to feel almost immediately that he wasn't a stranger, that truly I kind of had known by hearing him, and then he let me in. So from there on, the blessing of knowing Danilo and John, and all of us coming together, it was no doing of our own. I feel like, again, I just, what a blessing,
Wow. Thank you. And Danilo, what?
I was I was around 14 years old, and I was living in Panama at that time when I first heard the record Heavy Weather and the song A Remark You Made. I that it had a profound effect on me. Mm-hmm. I remember at that time I was making an agreement with my mom to take music on the side, and I as a hobby, and I really wanted to become a musician full time. But she said musicians need to have a job, and they need to have like a full-time job. So I was like, okay. So I studied electronic. So, and, I kept listening to this record, and I remember just thinking about, wow, I would love to meet these people. And when that tenor sound would come, it was just a big call for me. And I would dream of that sound. And at times I even cried listening to that tenor. And I guess that call was too strong, And I remember meeting Wayne when I was with Dizzy Gillespie. And I was with David Sanchez, the great tenor player from Puerto Rico, and we met Wayne. And I remember, I still have a picture of that, and I remember being so like, oh my God, I met that man from the tenor from A Remark You Made. And you can see on the picture how uptight, like if I just met E.T., an alien, I was just like, ooh, And I think time went by, and I created a friendship with Terry Lynn Carrington, and Terry Lynn Carrington recommended me. Brian and John, we have collaborated. I've been collaborating with John for years, and then Brian, it was just like a family immediately together, and we had a chance to record Motherland in 2000. That was right before we came together, and so it was
Your
the
record,
universe. Yeah. It was a call of the universe. Yeah, it was things were directing us in a certain specific way, and it was magical. Just the encounter was magical. The way we just got together, and I remember that first recording, Sacayuea from Alegría. I remember if you listen in the record towards the end, you're gonna hear Wayne going, ha, ha, ha. It's almost like he's saying, we're going on now. And that was the call. That was the call for the first gig as a quartet, I think.
Yeah. I wanted to ask something about these guys talked about it's funny because all of us had childhood connection to Wayne. Like I was a kid growing up in Brooklyn. The first jazz records that came into the house from my grandfather, there was Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Mosaic. And so I heard that tenor sound as well. And I I didn't even understand what they were doing, but the power of the music was so strong, and the tune called "Children of the Night" just totally wrecked me as a kid, and I didn't even know what was happening. It was just an emotional response. So I think I had no idea, like these gentlemen here, my brothers and our family here, none of us ever planned on actually becoming family with Wayne Shorter. He was some amazing giant figure in the music that, we were excited maybe to go hear him play. We had no idea this would ever happen like this.
Right.
So I wanted to also bear witness to that fact that it was, thank God for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And what, and the first time you guys then hit with Wayne, actually played some music with him was, I know, well, as with the three of you, I mean, because I know Brian mentioned being invited to his home to studio to play or something. When you, where did you guys first all get together? Was it actually for a rehearsal? Was it a session? Was it just a casual?
It was a rehearsal in New York City. What was that rehearsal space, guys? Do you remember? I know that.
I don't remember rehearsal. I
remember the recording though, right?
I remember you went directly we met at this studio actually.
Well, see, I recall us being in the room and Robert Sadin being there.
Yeah.
Because there was some
it was power station, I remember, where we met.
Oh, in the studio, man.
Yeah.
Really? We didn't have rehearsal.
No.
No, we didn't.
Wow.
We didn't have
That
rehearsal.
record, we were making that record for years, and when you guys came in, like you were in the midstream of the whole record, because I was on that record. Like we started before that. When you guys came, that was an amazing thing that happened there that day. It was magic, right?
Wow.
Danilo, you remember too, right?
Oh, it was just unbelievable. I remember I think it happens in blocks. I think John was already recording Alegria. Terry Lynn there was a lot of musicians.
He was on
being a part. It was a big production actually. And I remember that my audition was in Los Angeles.
Yes, I remember I was there.
Yeah. And this story happens to me in the studio. We were recording Alegria. And I remember playing over a vamp, and the vamp say, I don't know if it was D major or A major. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I heard over the microphone Wayne said, "Danilo, I need you to play some water chords in that section." And I remember that was the first time I heard that, like water chords, and I started thinking, wait a minute. I mean, I went to the conservatory. I have studied music, and I never saw a chapter in water chord. I mean, like, where is that? I started getting nervous, and I said, "Wow, this is I never heard this." So I tried different chords, kind of, it was like I didn't even know what he meant, but I was just trying. And he goes, He just went like this, like And he just said, okay, let's try another piece. So I knew that there was no water chord in what I did. So, of course, I was feeling pretty bad about it. And then that night, while watching a TV act, I saw a commercial, like a soap commercial, and there was a lot of fifth playing on the TV. A lot of sounds built on fifth, of the interval of fifth. And I say, wow. And then a guy came in and a woman say, yeah, use this soap. And, so I saw the relationship of water and soap. I was like, okay, water, soap, and fifth. So chords in fifth. Here we are. I got to put a little water in this. So I brought maybe 5 or 10 different chords. And I remember he called the same vamp again. And I played the first chord, remembering the commercial, and I remember what he said. He said, hey, Danilo, that's nice. Yeah, there's some water in that chord now, but the water has to be clean, completely clean. And I went, oh my God, I started laughing. So I tried another one. And I said to myself, oh my God, this is the Wayne Shorter spaceship Milky Way Express. This is going to be a trip on another planet.
Wow, that's an amazing story. That's, and well, you clearly found the water chords, because 20 years later, here you are, still a part of Wayne's world. So that's
I'm
amazing.
still looking for those sounds.
Still looking, right. Well, that's the thing that, to touch upon and share, and is such a part, of the iconic figures and the masters in this music, is how, they're always searching, and how, and for you guys, you're now searching with Wayne together. And I mean that you're all masters of the music yourself, as far as I'm concerned. And I think probably all the people watching too, and your achievements are many, from Grammy Awards and all kinds of awards, and all kinds of praise for your recordings, of which have been seminal to the generations coming up, and your mentorship. But how is it for you guys from the time earlier on to now? How have things evolved in terms of that search with Wayne, your experience of what you've learned from him in terms of his process? That sounds like a lot to throw at you, but just in general, just the experience of being around him, and his approach to music and all, and how that's impacted you guys. Sorry, who wants to go first? I'll leave.
Oh, yeah.
I'll throw it out to you.
It's great that you mentioned sort of this never ceasing search. Like Wayne, if anyone, could just completely rest on the world of music he's already given us. I mean, it is enduring. It has touched all of us in our generation, but it continues to speak. But he doesn't. It's like, oh, that's if it's somehow in the past. In a way, to him, it's probably unfinished. There's no such thing. He's like, it's still in process, and he's still looking for that other doorway that's going to take him to that other vista that he has not seen. This experience, he's always, pen in hand. Like, well, we'd be on the road. He'd come down in the morning, and he may have probably fallen asleep over the manuscript paper, but he comes out with the scrolls, and we know that hopefully at that sound check that day, wherever we get to that point, we're gonna get to experience. He's constantly dreaming. Talk about night dreamer. He's looking for that vision to share with us, but then often in that search, we come together, he's very quick to almost want to abandon what we consider that great thing, because he wants to compromise, as we call it. He wants to create something together, so much so that he would put his own, and I say it in full regard for his genius. He can put that paper aside, that genius aside, to see what we might do together. So to be included in that, and him constantly challenging us, because I'm sure John and Danilo can speak to that. When we first started, I don't think any of us had a real sense of, is he happy? Is it going in the direction that he is pleased with? Right. So that excites him. So, because we revere him and love him, and have grown deeper in that reverence and love, as we know him, over these 20 years. So anyway, I'm going to pass the ball. I'm going off.
No, it's beautiful.
Danilo, John, or what do you
Yeah,
guys say?
Danilo, what do you? I'm sure you have a lot to say about that as well, and the feeling. And it's interesting when we talk
Uh,
about. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, it it's a hard. It's when I listen to Brian or John talking, I I started having memories
Mm.
of things, you know, and it's really deep because that's a place I don't like to go, by the way, because you know, like it just you know, it's just one of the greatest experience I ever had, and
Mm.
you know, most of what I have become, it I am grateful to that. That had to happen for me in my life. I have become more human. I was in another path, you know, meeting Wayne and working with this amazing band with John and Brian that are like brothers. Um, I grew as a person. You know, I wanted to grow as a musician. I never really knew how much growing I was going to do. But Wayne started posting deep questions about who are you? Um, you know, you want to end up alone uh, in life. You know, what are you afraid of? You know, I asked him music questions, and he will answer. Um, you know, like I remember I asked him, Doctor, what do I need to work? I wanted him to tell me something concrete about music, and he really, you
Right.
know, I hear in your sound, you need to get married. And I thought I always thought that he was making it up, you know, come from I was just always thinking that, you know, I told John that's a creative, and Brian, that's a creative way to get somebody fired, you know. I know he comes from the school of Miles, but he just doesn't like the way I'm playing, so he's gonna fire me. So he's just looking for a very creative excuse, you know. So, but literally years later, I really figured out that he was talking about getting married, like
Like, yeah.
meaning
Yeah, he cared for
to
you.
get
He loved
married.
you.
Yeah, and I remember that he told me be curious about everything from as far back as you can remember, and don't regret asking questions of yourself. Sometimes when we go and play around, he said, I walk at the mirror and I look real fast and I say to myself, what are you looking at? And then run away. I never forget that.
But and I have to say,
Wow.
his love, he extended so much love. I mean, he's always been a champion of all of us. And I remember when I first started working with him, I just couldn't. He was really wanted to talk about making people see things. Like he would say, let's go make a movie when we walked out on stage. And when Danilo and Brian got in the band, you know, at first I think they were concerned, but I saw him light up and bring all this music out. And I was like, wait a minute. There's something going on here. And I knew it because all the three of us were already united. We had played together and it felt like we'd been playing all our lives. And that was a huge blessing. And for me, the huge blessing of him he became like another father, you know, like his nurture and care about us. And it grew because at first I think he was really into it, but I think the family part kept growing stronger and stronger. I saw him let go of any inhibition he would have about giving himself over in the family kind of situation with these guys and me. He just loved us, you know, and we loved him a lot, and we were so moved by it. I think that he wanted to talk about life. People were always asking him about music. They wanted to know all his secrets, and he wanted to talk about life, and really bringing people into a place where when we played, that they would see things and dream dreams and have hopes and aspirations and reach for things. He was interested in moving people, not just impressing them. And I think he changed all of us and made us think more deeply about what we were doing up there. Like, you know, it was a serious family, and it still is. You know,
So it's interesting because that's a different approach, obviously, than occurred from everything, you know, things I've read about approach like that Miles Davis took with his band in some way. You know, he liked to create that pressure cooker in a way, keep that in a bit and keep people guessing in the band and not knowing if they were doing it right or something, so to speak. I you know, obviously the stories are legend about that, but Wayne coming up in that and taking well, there, I should say, and you know, Miles obviously had many different sides to him, and some of it was that fatherly, you know, that it was all things that I've read, and you know, I want to be very clear about that and in fairness, but yeah, what you say, how he's created this family and what that does to the music, and how that brings about and creates I guess in the best sense a place where you feel even safer taking chances. Would you say that's accurate, is as a result of feeling like, you know, he's there and got your back, and that you're a family, and you know, it gives you more not that, I don't know, you know, not that you guys can't imagine you need any more confidence as artists, but of course artists always, you know, can't hurt to have more confidence regardless when you're searching and stuff, I guess. But anyway,
I think
what do you think about that?
That was one of the things, speaking of take a chance. I think he would say that often.
He said a lot, right? Yeah.
A lot. And you know, I was unfortunately the greatest distance from him on stage. He'd be right in the hook of the piano, and John just to his left. So he and Denise, I think they would be having conversations. I'd be like, "What are they saying?" Because he'd be like, he'd be talking, you know. So, but anyway, you know, that encouragement, even in his silence, even when he wasn't playing, like, of course we wanted him to be playing, and we, you know, but he would even while we were churning and trying to create something together, in his silence, he would be kneading the dough as well. He would be baking it as well, you know. And when he did, you know, finally play, he was like, okay, I'm gonna let these guys get to the 9th floor. I'm gonna let them build it. And then he would put the spear on the top of the pole. I mean, he's an architect. He's such a creative spirit, and that creative spirit, I think, and what makes Wayne so genius is that he knows when to allow things to grow, you know, to things to germinate and to give us that opportunity, John and Danilo and I, to take that chance, to grow in that confidence of taking those chances. And then I think he gets excited by that. It's like, oh, everybody's jumping, you know, let's jump, let's go. You know, so.
You know, I want to mention too that thank you. That really is powerful imagery that you shared as well, about how, and myself, from seeing Wayne over the years and seeing you guys play live, that was so aptly said. I feel like the spear, I mean, that is true. He knows how to let you guys loose, and he knows how to just like come. He's so patient and with waiting and letting it build to this thing amongst the trio before then he comes back in. And it's like as if it was all by design, as if you had, you know, the sheet music in front of you, where it was like at bar whatever 87 he was going to come back in, but it was not that way. Obviously it's happens organically on the fly.
It reaffirms. I'm sorry, Seth.
No, go please.
I think it reaffirms this. Listening is a great action. It's not a passive thing, you know, his that listening and observe. I think he's a master of that as well. You know,
Right.
you know, sharing that.
Well, speaking of sharing, I'd love to share now we have the audio, this is not a video, but of you guys and Matthew mentioned, I don't know Matthew's last name, but here how the three of you, he posted how the three of you are children of the light. And you did a beautiful record and toured under that name, Children of the Light. And we have a track queued up of Wayne's composition Dolores to share the audio of.
That's Danilo's arrangement. Amazing light echo, right, Danilo?
Yeah. Do you want to introduce that briefly, Danilo? Your arrangement? Do you want to make any?
Well, it's easier to it's like it's my disarrangement.
Decomposing.
You know,
all right.
Yeah, we call this decomposition.
Right.
With Brian and John, you can just write two notes, and they make you look great because you put the music in front, and it sounds like all this stuff they're playing,
right?
And it sounds like you.
We lost you there a little bit.
Composition. Yeah, but it's what we call compromising. Mm-hmm. It's a three-way conversation based on an idea I had, and then they just they wrote something else.
All right, awesome. And before we jump right to that, which we'll do in 1 second, the music, we should I understand that Wayne Shorter himself has been commenting on the page as well. So if you're listening, we're so thrilled for you to join us, and thank you for on my behalf for all you've done for the music. You're a hero of mine, and I just want to let the guys, your band, know that you are watching this.
Wow.
Love you, Wayne. We love you, man.
Yeah. I
Wow. Man, that's special right there too. I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's
D.
beautiful. The chemistry is undeniable in how you guys perform together, with and without Wayne, of course. Um, so let me ask, do you have anything to add? What was that? How was that session? Did you get share with Wayne ahead of time that you were doing this project, as recording as the Children of the Light, and discuss that with him? Danilo?
The children's, because that name was John. You made a joke like children delight, something like that. Can you refresh us? You have to unmute the microphone.
John,
John.
Children of the Night was the first tune I ever heard with Wayne on it, on that record with Art Blakey. And then, Wayne used to talk about the reason why he named it that was because of Dracula. In the Dracula movie, it says, "The children of the night, they make such beautiful music." So then he was always talking about different things. And I thought about all the light that he playing with him and the family that was created and everything. And also it's a biblical reference too about being children of the light and trying to bring that to people. And so I felt like it was a nice way to honor him. And then we had talked about it for years, right? We wouldn't, there were people before who were saying, you guys should go out as a trio, and out of respect to Wayne, we really didn't, we waited for years to do that, right? It was years, a long time, before we would even make a record and use that name.
Sure.
Remember, guys?
Yep. Absolutely. We were touring a lot.
Right.
So any to muddy the waters with any other thing would have been, I think, the timing had to be right. It had to feel like there was some more space growing in our time out as a quartet, and of course with Wayne's blessing. Because if we're going to honor him, yet he doesn't, but he doesn't feel like it's appropriate, then of course we would not have, even
sure.
Attempted to do something. But I hope he feels the honor in it, and we carry all those lessons and time spent with him, just with us all the time and into everything, obviously, that we do.
Sure. So
thanks to Danilo, because he was signed to Mac Avenue, and he decided that he would use one of his records, right, D, to make it the trio record. So we did it. We had a nice place to land to bring this, right, D? You can talk about that. It was neat.
For me, it's just finding a way to continue the mission, basically. We have a mission, and all I have to do tell Wayne of the idea a little bit, and he immediately said, "We are a work in progress." So he said, "That's what I'm talking about," and that's what he said. So I told Brian and John, say, "We're fine." Because I think what he means by that is a lot of the lessons that he told us. He always said, remember, Brian and John, he said, the universe is a process. He one time he would say, classical music is a work in progress. Writing an opera is a work in progress. He called everything a work in progress, and he said Charlie Parker would refer to when they asked him, he say, "I am a work in progress." So he said, "You are what you play and write." So he understood immediately the message that we wanted to continue. This is a place we want to continue experimenting with the mentorship that we got from him, compromising. This is a language that we feel very comfortable in an uncomfortable way. And he told us, your identity, Danilo, you think your identity is static? And I went, I don't think so. He said, you got that right. and he I think you remember a lot of this. You both have reminded me of a lot of the things that we talk about. It. He would say, play what you desire, man. I said I wanted to add, with permission of Brian and John, I want you say something about that. His approach was different. That these teachings were different than Miles, and I must tell you that I think Wayne selectively and geniusly translated a lot of Miles Davis teaching to his own character, because there was one specific one about, he say Miles Davis said to him, he say, "Hey Wayne, I see you like philosophy." And Wayne say, "Yeah, I love philosophy." And he say, "Well, play that." So, you see that he did the same to me. He said, "Hey Danilo, I heard, I see you like social activism. You like kids and all of that, a lot of children." I say, "Yes." He said, "Well, play that."
Right.
So you see the way he was able to transfer a lot of the information also that he got from Coltrane and Miles and his Buddhist practice. He was able to create a unique idea about the world, and the way that he mentored us was very much, and within, those parameters. He would say, we can't let tragedy stop us, because he said, because tragedies are temporary, so are victories, and life is the only constant, he said, but we are constant, he would say all the time. So if you wanted to talk about music, he was talking about philosophy and way of thinking about it.
Right. And what is the quote that you always say, Danilo? Didn't he say, he said this to us a lot, play music like you want the world to be, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Play and write music you want, the way you want the world to be like.
That's powerful. And it makes sense that all that you're sharing. I didn't know all that, of course, and that's great to get that insight. It's amazing to have that for everybody tuning in, because those are lessons that I think apply to whatever people are doing, and inspiration for people and whatever they're doing in their lives. For sure, it can be translate and make a difference, especially in these times. And also, it's interesting because I titled it Wayne's World, this talk, Wayne's World, in part because I always get the sense Wayne, we like, he's sharing his world with us, but it's all one, obviously. But at the same time, I feel when I've seen Wayne live, when I put on his records with you guys, and his records previously, whether it's Speak No Evil, or going all the way back and all the way forward, or stuff with Milton Nascimento, Native Dancer and stuff, it is really like you get to explore, you get to hear and be a part of his world, and it's a really special place to be. And you guys create that. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you guys, a big part of Wayne's world, I know one of his loves is comic books, and I'm curious as to, like, is he share his favorite comic books with you guys? Is that a part of something he shares on the road, or do he travels around with, or how it relates into in his music, or is that something that's completely separate from the experiences you guys have with him? Because I know it's such a big part of what he tends to bring that up a lot when he's talking about things.
Well, he's a phenomenal illustrator.
Oh yes.
I mean, we remember Danilo when we were at his house rehearsing for the opera. We got to look at this book where he wrote, like where he sketched his comic book stuff under the bed covers at night when he was supposed to be sleeping with a flashlight. He would draw in ballpoint pen, no erasing. We saw illustrations in this book that was there. It was insane. And like one of the times I was at his house and I saw this sculpture in the room of Nefertiti, and I said, "Wow, Wayne, wow, where did you get that? Who did that for you?" He said, "Well, I did that when I was 17. I was like, "Okay." I can't. You know, you just feel like, oh my gosh, give me a break. And he did. That's the kind of genius and artistic talent he possesses still. And right now, as we speak, he's writing an opera. So.
Right. Yeah. And Carl, and you've been participating, and I know, he was doing a number of readings of that and rehearsals with that he was sharing with live audience. In fact, ironically, or not ironically, one of the last things I was supposed to do and attend prior to the pandemic was, I think, was going to be a rehearsal or reading of a part of it that was supposed to take place at Jazz Lincoln Center. That then didn't end up happening because of this, as I recall. So John Newcott, who is a fan, I don't know if this is the same John Newcott, but I wonder if it is, from WBGO, said, "It's Wayne's world. The rest of us just rent space." I thought that's interesting to share. And then you have something else that I think do you have with you that to share that Brian sent you guys, that, and I think it's worth bringing up, how apparently Wayne typically never does. You guys don't ever have a set list. He never has a set list ahead of shows, except for a particular time that you commemorated, Brian.
Oh yeah. Well, I was talking about the scrolls earlier. That John and Danilo and I, treasure. Him sharing, what he's been writing, and over the years, obviously those scrolls have like grown, and so I was going through some of the scrolls the other day, and I found this set list, and I'm pretty sure it was probably 2000 in Champaign, Illinois, or somewhere.
Yeah,
it was our first, and the one time one and only time that he wrote, well, maybe we'll do these things. But it was so, he was already so far ahead of us in his vision for this becoming one organism, not necessarily the master and the list, and then we carry out the order. But it was a privilege to find that and see, just the memory of it, and feel as if we were, being included and trusted, and yeah. So I had to I put it on top of my piano, and I have these little scout knives, which is actually a commissioned piece that Wayne wrote a piece under that title. I think it was inspired by The Girl in To Kill a Mockingbird. But am I right about that, John and Danilo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I have these little scout knives, and it just, when I saw the set list and those 3 scout knives beside each other, it just spoke to me, and I wanted to share it with my brothers and with Wayne, obviously. And it just, these little moments here alone a lot of those moments alone over these last 10 months. Those things become even more meaningful.
Danilo, should we unveil?
Yes.
To be unveiled. Sure. It is. Brian Blade.
Brian
You
Blade.
have me on
Brian
the
Blade's an
floor
artist too.
crying. Don't do that,
Very-
brother.
And his wife's an artist as well. They got art.
Wow.
That's a set list. You see that in his writing. You see on the piece of paper that's kind of ripped to the side in a really
Beautiful
cool
writing.
way.
Beautiful writing.
Yeah, I can just, if I can get up there, you can see
Yeah.
Valstriest and all that stuff. Juju's on the bottom.
Yeah.
I think I got a coffee stain on there from.
It's great.
That's the espresso. That's probably was me. Yeah.
But that thing came in the mail. It really touched me because obviously with all this going on, we miss playing with Wayne and seeing each other. Like we lived together for 20. I mean, we were on the road a lot together. Experienced a lot of time with our families. My daughters came out when they were young, and Brian would bring his wife, and Danilo, as his kids came into the picture, they would come, and Patty. It's just been, to not have that is really weird.
Yeah.
Like
Yes, it is.
to have that flow,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, no star.
Okay. I don't make you cry.
I wanted
What?
to go back a little bit to that question about, because when we spent the last time we spent there, he was really remembering a lot of his experiences, and one of the things that I don't know if you remember, John or Brian, he talked about starting drawing when he was around 7 or 8 years old, I think. And one movie that made an impact on him, he said was called the Rocket Ship XM or something like that, with Lloyd Bridge. You remember that, Brian or John?
Yeah.
And there was a comic book that he always talked to us about, called The Other Worlds. That was a comic book that I saw it. He still have it from long time ago. So he was drawing stuff like Captain Marvel. Actually, he was drawing stuff that had a lot of the role of women being the savior. Wayne always was drawing the image of women as being the superhero, which is incredible in early age. And I think one of the things that people might not know is that he was in this fantasy world already creating, doing a lot of things. And then he picked up remember, John, the clarinet around 14 or 15, 16, something like that. He picked up the clarinet. And then he said that in a radio program, they said, now we're going to play the new music. It's called bebop or something like that. And it was Gillespie. And he said, when he heard that, he said, he stopped reading books and he connected Charlie Parker, Thelonious Monk, and Dizzy Gillespie to these superheroes that he heard on the sound. So I took a little break from that. So that's an important connection that I want to make. I want to bring, if I remember correctly, that there's this connection of almost like a movie that he's making about the role of an artist in society, either expressing a different relationship and positioning women in a very important and forefront of society, or making jazz musicians and artists be at the forefront of big changes. And he embraced that on us all the time.
Absolutely.
He always said, once upon a time, and then we start. And I said, okay, what is the first song we're going to play? He goes, once upon a time. Okay.
Wow.
That's right.
That's how he talked to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go make a movie. That's what
Right. Let's make a
Let's
movie.
go make a movie when we're walking out, to play.
Here's a phrase he learned from Miles I want to share. After we play and we felt pretty good, we just taking an like a standing ovation, and he's feeling really good. And I hear he saying, you know what Miles said? He said, don't you get tired of playing music that sounds like music? And then,
Wow.
that's it. That was it. You couldn't talk about the concert anymore.
Wow.
This was the lessons. He said, if I found some kind of progression or something I want to do again, he goes, "Oh, you like that? Oh, you want to do that again? Okay." But
Wow.
I must tell you something, and not because they're here, but we talk a lot about Wayne. But I think one of the things that I think we have to express very clearly is that one of the signs of being a great leader is creating leaderships in other people. And Brian Blade and John Patitucci, there's no myself in this era. I don't feel there is a Danilo without the contribution of evolution as a human being from these brothers of mine. These both are. I'm still waiting for Brian to go off. Like I just don't believe. Like every time I think he's gonna go off, he'll do this. That's how he go off. And you see those knives there? Those knives go right to my heart. You see, so from the sound check, this is one of the best experience I ever had in my life. Not just because, of course, the mentorship is amazing, but being under the presence at 24 hours at the sound check of this incredible urge of family and sharing with each other and accepting me when I'm, going wild or going crazy or drinking wine or having double espressos. Watching all that evolution and being patient. And Brian, I learned from Brian something really, really great. He was listening to me more than I was listening to him. And he pointed out on those very long drive that we have, we were listening to some of the recordings, and he said, "Oh, Danilo, I wish you repeat that." So I said, okay. So next day I focused in my part, and I found this beautiful, tried to find this beautiful progression, and I started experimenting with things. And then I realized there was some stuff that was triggering Dr. Blay. He would say, "Ah!" So I started to see the kind of things that he was. The same thing with John. John say, I want some of that. So as Wayne is observing all this, is like little children at play. So I want to share that with the audience, that we really took all those lessons and practiced it. We were practicing 24 hours a day with each other, and we still practicing, hopefully, until we get a call from the big boss over there,
Yeah.
But
Right.
that I want to share that, because I know that sometimes having this opportunity is not enough. Is to be aware and to be being a testimony of everything that you're learning and practicing, and I that's why when I talk about this I get emotional, because I miss that. That's like a therapy. These are my music therapy, psychologies, everything else,
Oh, you too, bro. You too.
you got everything in one package. It's like, wow. It's first of all, it's very cheaper than paying psychologists on the side. You get all in one.
Well, it's also
But you
therapy for
too,
all of
man.
us that get to listen to it and enjoy it all this time. And I know we're coming to the end here, unfortunately, but before we conclude, I would love for you each to give you an opportunity to share some things either that you're working or some plans you have as with your own projects or whatever you want to share that you're or can share that you're up to or will be doing in the future as your own right as a leader. I know start with John. I know John briefly mentioned at the top of this before we went live. He just did a film score, and he's very very excited about having been a part of a very important project. And so whatever you want to share, John, about your group or this project or
I think
anything.
I think first I just want to say to Danilo and Brian too. I mean, these guys are more than family. They're inspiration to me too, and also our families are knit together. So it's like it's a very deep thing, and it's hard to express in words. And the music, the things that have happened on stage over the 20 years have been spiritual experiences for me, and I'm sure them too. And with Wayne and Carolina, his wife, and everything, it's transformative actually. And to have that kind of authentic love and caring and family atmosphere, for this long, that keeps growing and getting deeper. That is something that I'll never take for granted. I'll just have constant gratitude to these guys my whole life. And we talk about a lot of things. Danilo and Brian also have a real big heart, as Wayne does, for social justice. So and the transformation and the addressing of the racial inequities and the problems in the world towards women and people of color and many things. So just briefly, I'll just say I got a chance to do this film this year, and it was by an African-American pastor friend of mine who, it's a movie about Chicago and the racial injustice, the police brutality, the corruption of the government and the gangs. And it's all about, this one guy who took upon himself to do a hunger strike and go there and get a bunch of people together to try to communicate to the young people who were stuck in those gangs that really wanted out, that there was another way to live. And it's a beautiful film. It's called Chicago, America's Hidden War. And it's coming out in January on Martin Luther King Day. So I'll just say, the experience of being with these guys, and we talk about this stuff all the time because it's more than music. And Wayne is very much about this, and Herbie and all, especially, Wayne would talk about, using music for a higher purpose. And Danilo's been doing that with his foundation and all the things. Mm-hmm. And Brian and I have been fortunate to be part of that as well. So I just want to say that's the only thing I want to talk about, because it's a literal outgrowth of this situation with these guys.
Thank you so much, Danilo. If you want to share, you have so many things going on. It's unbelievable at any one time. But yeah, and you have this beautiful backdrop behind you too that we didn't get to mention is Panama too. Which
well, this is Panama. This is the bridge. This is Panama. Panama is that place that's the bridge of the Americas, the place where the Americas touch each other. Is amazing. That I like that. I always think about playing like that bridge, and how what it means, the role of the artist in this moment. I think is essential for us to reimagine a new world. We need to use our talent to create. I feel an international discourse concerning important issues about immigration, global health, gender equality, systemic racism, injustice, resistance, love, and humanity. I think that these are very crucial themes that this pandemic has made me reflect and made us reflect during this time. Mm-hmm. This experience in finding a band like the quartet with Wayne, John, and Brian, I am grateful for many reasons. But one of them is that I found my family to, beside this family, I expanded my family. My wife, who is an incredible, a brilliant blessing in my life, and my daughters, power daughters that I have, and my Danilito. I mean, I wouldn't have and I really feel, I pray for those people that are during this time of pandemics are alone or are, without a job, or, I'm just trying to see how we can do to help the world. And I am more convinced now that we need to use our talent to create those topics, to address those topics. We, as a musician, we are an activist. We have that power. So one of the latest thing I've done is create a group called the Global Messengers, which explore the power of music as a tool for intercultural dialogue. And I have people that are from Palestine, Greece, Jordan, USA, different instrument, vocals, lauto, violin, cello, percussion. And for me, the issues of immigration is a big issue right now. And we have to work in using all we can about music to make music more inclusive and welcoming of different nationalities and other ethnics, and promote music that has a virtual bridge between people and culture. That's my commitment right now, and hopefully, Children of Delight will do more things. And I've been collaborating also with Kurt Ellen
For a
this
Grammy,
year.
actually.
Yeah, and we,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. That was a beautiful collaboration, and this year very meaningful for me, and I grew a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Wow.
Dr. Blake.
Brian.
Oh,
BB.
no,
Now.
yes.
That's an insight.
Thank you for changing my name there on the screen.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about, I can't remember if John or Danilo told me this. Maybe it was Miles who might have asked Chick. They were on the road,
Yes.
and he'd ask Chick, "What does Wayne do during the day?"
That's right.
so I'm asking myself that right now. I'm like, what is he working on? That's what I'm excited about and looking forward to. As John mentioned, and he and Danilo have had some readings of the opera he's working on in progress. And
but you're going to be in there too. You playing?
Well, you know, I just want a ticket. I just want to be in the room, and if that's possible, then all the more. You know, I'm just there are dates on the calendar for next year. You know, and you know, I'm looking forward to that. And I know that Wayne is excited about it, and I can't wait to hear. I haven't heard a note, so the excitement about that being, you know, revealed to me and to the world. There's more Wayne to experience. So more Wayne's World, and the last thing. Yeah, I remember actually, again, just another Miles connection slightly. If I'm not mistaken, Vendiendo Alegría, there were sketches Miles gave to Wayne. Am I right, John and Danilo?
Yeah. Well, he tapped into, he hip him up to that melody. Yeah.
And asked Wayne to, and asked Wayne to please, you know. So I don't know how many years later, here we were fortunate to be a part of that manifestation of what became the Alegría album, but Vendiendo. So, boy, time and that arc of, people coming into this world and then leaving it, but we're still here and just thankful. So I'm thankful thank you, Seth, for having, arranging this, and to my brothers John and Danilo. Thank you so much.
Brian, one last thing is, he told Wayne, he grabbed him by the shoulders this is late in Miles' life, short time before he passed. It was backstage. Wayne went to see him, and he reminded him about that again. And he said, Wayne, you have to expose yourself, like the writing. He told him again, man, you need to get that writing out there, like the big form writing, the large form writing. And the three of us got to watch that happen over the last 20 years. Yeah. We actually watched it come to fruition. It's incredible.
Yeah, I saw him do one of them was the Imani Winds project that I saw him do at the Carnegie Hall.
Exactly.
Yeah, just amazing. Well,
Yeah.
I am grateful to each of you for taking the time out and joining us here, as I know everyone watching is as well. And I'm grateful for all the music that you've shared over the years that I've had the pleasure of being there in the audience for a jazz standard. You've each had the great honor and privilege of working with each of you so much over the years and presenting your groups and projects together too at the club. And I thank you for that as well. And we could go on. This in of itself could be its own series, talking about all these various things. And there's so much we didn't get to, and so much we didn't get to that each of you have been doing, and your festival as well, Danilo, and so many things, that the Global Institute and the fellowship, Brian, and all. But I sincerely thank you all for sharing and seeing and being so open to sharing and giving with all of you
Thank you,
in the
man.
way you did tonight.
Thank you, man.
It's beautiful, and I know it means a lot to everybody, especially now, to be able to experience this. It's a light, and thank you. And thank you all for tuning in tonight, and thank you again to our co-presenters, Jazz Standard and New Jersey Performing Arts Center, and thank you to our sponsor, TD Bank. And finally, we have one show left on the series on December 15th, which is the centennial celebration of Dave Brubeck with Bill Charlap, the great pianist, and the great drummer Kenny Washington. So I hope you'll see join us for that as well, and tune in for that. But between now and then, everyone be safe and take care of yourselves. Wear your mask and do everything. And thank you all. Okay, thanks everyone. Thank you guys. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Seth, thank you very much. But I cannot let you go. I have to add this. Wayne would like this. He learned something from Miles Davis, and he would say to us when we look scared, he would say, "What is the definition of jazz?" He say, "I dare you." And then he said, when Miles Davis sees somebody new, he would say, "What does it matter? You scared?" He said, "Go out there and play. Take that out." So I think that's a good ending for this. That's the way we like all of us to do. Take it out.
Yeah. All right.
Love you
Awesome.
guys. Thank you,
Love you
Seth.
too.
Love you. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Right,
Good night.
Stay well. Good night.
Too.